Hello, I'm Susan Regan, your host of Connecticut Valley Views, and my guest today is Rob Hotaling. He is the Connecticut 2022 Independent Party's gubernatorial candidate. Now, Rob, regarding your professional background, if you can give us a sense of where, your background and how you feel that is applied in being a candidate for the Independent Party.
Sure. First of all, I'm a 25-year resident of Connecticut, a graduate of the University of Connecticut, UConn, proud Husky. And I've had essentially I'm a business technology executive across multiple industries, specifically finance. I've worked in banking, hedge funds, and just various forms of fintech. But I've also had other experiences. So for me, my qualifications for governor is that I have a breadth and depth. So I believe that I'm far more hands-on, where I have to often understand the inner workings of the business in the industry more so than even CEOs would in order to make sure we have an effective solution. So I'm highly accountable, highly responsible. I listen well, and definitely being in digital. In digital, customers will let you know if it's not working. They'll let you know within seconds and let you know what they think and feel. So you have to be responsive to your customers. And I think I could bring that type of mindset of complex problem solving to the governorship.
Now, I noticed something in your background when I read about you. There was something called IoT. Does that mean Internet of Things? Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Internet of Things. Yeah.
And what is that exactly? Internet of Things.
Well, so I think there's three ages that we're in, right? Mm-hmm. From a technology perspective, you can call it age of the internet. Then there's age of mobile. Mm-hmm. And then now we're entering the age of data. Mm-hmm. And the reason it's related to IoT is that, everyone has the internet in their hands now, but as devices get more connected, you want your homes to be smarter, your car to be smarter, everything to be smarter. And being, quote unquote, being smarter starts with data being fed up and analyzed and trends applied to it so it can inform you of what to do. So, for example, I got an oven from GE, and my GE oven will inform my phone when it expects my pre-temperature to complete, and then it'll let you know it set the temperature. That's IoT fundamentally, which is a device telling me on my phone or my watch it did something that's important.
Okay. And then I also noticed gunshot detection. What exactly is that?
Yeah. So I was essentially a architect at IBM during working at a bank again. And when the Sandy Hook event occurred around that time frame generally. Mm-hmm. And I was really inspired from a friend of mine who knew one of the parents who had lost a child. And it really impacted me. And I just couldn't sit idle. I needed to impact the world around me. That's the type of person I am. So I just decided I'm going to become an expert in gunshot detection. Mm-hmm. And because the way I looked at it was in crisis solutions that are non-intrusive. So when you don't want to turn schools into fortresses, but you want to be able to leverage technology and process in a way that people hadn't thought before. And I thought about taking technology that's used by special forces in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I worked with a military defense contractor to do this. And we actually made it a solution that's installed at UConn that could detect gunfire within 2 or 3 seconds and send it to your phone on a floor plan. And then you click a camera button and it would bring up the live stream. So it gives eyes and ears to police within seconds of gunfire. Mm-hmm. So no human intervention whatsoever. So it was really incredible.
Yeah, safety is certainly one of the things that I think people have mentioned, particularly in the cities where they are looking for more support actually from the police. So I think that's a great advantage that you have in that, and you're getting ahead of the curve on this type of thing. All right, now give us the bullet points of your campaign platform. What is it you're looking to do that you've garnered from having your conversations with the people out there at your various venues?
Yeah, so really our priorities as a campaign are 1, jobs and economy. It's always jobs and economy. Number 2, closing the achievement gap. Number 3, addressing the labor shortage. And I would say number 4 is really aging infrastructure and transportation issues. Mm-hmm. So but going to jobs and economy, that's really affected by cost of doing business and cost of living. And we have some different ideas on how to address that, but that's really the platform.
Sure. Well, taking what your campaign functionality would be, what are the top 3 issues that you feel that the people in Connecticut, and I really think we have to take into consideration not only those who are registered Democratic voters, registered Republican voters, and the unaffiliated, what are you seeing are the top 3 issues?
Really, it's going to be jobs and economy still number 1, according to polls. You know, we learned back with James Carville and Bill Clinton, it's the economy's stupid. Nothing's changed, right? But right after that, I believe that abortion has been a real hot button issue. Crime and safety and guns specifically has been an issue. Folks have asked about that. And then just, education, because the amount of spend that in the amount of focus and what's going on with education, that is also a huge issue for, at least for what I've heard from, as you mentioned, all the various groups. And I do interact with mostly the unaffiliated, which you mentioned is the largest voting bloc in Connecticut. But there's also moderate Democrats and moderate Republicans, I'd say conservatives and progressives, that also communicate with me and find me and my team and my campaign and our party to be a safe place, safe space where they can have a conversation knowing that someone's going to listen and try to find a moderate view. So, well,
when you say that you want to improve education, what specifically do you see as the answer to that? Obviously, if we improve, are we talking about CRT issues? These are the issues that parents have gone to Board of Education meetings and are very concerned about the fact that they are not included and what the curriculum will be. And of course, the teachers, some of the teachers and the Board of Education are saying we're the ones who make the decisions. So how do you see about handling that?
I think a lot of our issues, the issue with the issue is the compromise and working together. Neither team, neither group can say that the experts and have all the right answers, right? Parents know what's best for their children from a certain standpoint, and teachers and administrators know what's best for students from a certain standpoint. And we shouldn't be adversarial. We should be working together to come up with the right solution. I think either extreme's bad. You can't force upon everyone certain beliefs and belief systems. And on the other side, you shouldn't completely eliminate them either, because there's problems in the world and this historical context that people should understand. So I think the solution for me, and again, that's why I say I'm a moderate right down the middle, Susan. I believe that we should build bridges and conversations and listen and find that middle point that both sides can agree upon.
Now, it's a good segue to the next question. The next question is, if you become governor, and you have the legislature with which you would have to work and get agreement with what you feel the right directions are. Currently, obviously, it's the majority are Democrats. How do you see working with them if, in fact, they have got their heels dug in as to what they believe is the right thing to do, and you as governor, is executive orders on the plate, or how do you see working with them?
And I think that's what makes me a stronger candidate, honestly. I've been part of both parties. So I was part of the Democrats in my 20s and part of the Republicans in my 40s. And then I left the Republican Party after Trump for various reasons, as well as that. And have an understanding of the positions of the platform of both parties, and now being part of the independent party and defining a middle. As I mentioned earlier, folks are comfortable with talking to me. I've spoken to both Democrat and Republican state senators and House representatives. And I've spoken with Governor Lamont and of course, Bob Stefanowski as well. So there are a number of items that most folks can agree upon. Problem is that it's become so contrarian and tribal. It's like tribalism, right? Where you can't deal with the other team at all. Your goal is to undermine and disrupt the other team just so you can have this cycle of winning. Meanwhile, the folks aren't moving forward, and polls show, and the average Connecticut resident and American says they're upset at the two-party system. That's why they want a third party, because they want to see issues moving forward. And I always say, we're not left, we're not right, we're right down the middle, and we're moving forward. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to bring. And I believe the legislature would recognize that. And let's talk about Weicker for a moment. He was the last independent governor Now, he did introduce the income tax, right? The state income tax. But you go, how did an independent governor do that with the legislature that was full of Democrats and Republicans? Why? Because he represented the unaffiliated in most of the moderates. And at that time, they thought it was a good idea. Now, fast forward, depending on how you see that. Right. But I believe that I could be the second independent governor to have a significant impact and do even more work than Weicker did in terms of bringing both sides together and getting some solutions.
Now, many people out there, and I think we've all agreed that part of the struggle to win recognition is name recognition and money. And if you can express to us where you feel you are in name recognition, you've come into this race at a late hour. So I guess the question would be specifically, when did you make the decision? What was the catalyst for doing so?
Right. So I honestly was thinking about running for higher office 4 years from now. But Chairman Telesco of the Independent Party came to me, and he brought me to this nice Italian restaurant. And he gave me some wine, and he had all these data points. He says, Rob, I think, he says to me, we have 8 people who want our governor line. 2 of them being the current governor and Bob Stefanowski.
Yeah.
But we believe, the party believes, you are a member. We believe you're the best one to do this. I was like, wow. So I was called to serve, Susan. I was called to serve. Okay. I was thinking about running 4 years from now. He said I should run now. And I'm like, I don't know, Mike. But, in the end, it was the right decision. Look, we've gotten the result, which is mission accomplished. Are we on the line? I'm the first candidate in 12 years to be a non-Republican getting the line, and they felt entitled to it. And people recognize the party now. People are going, wait, the third largest party in the state is the Independent Party with 30 to 40,000 members, and we're seeing numbers like we haven't seen before. Partially because of the lawsuit, but the name recognition. But the point is, we are the party of the moderate. We are a third party. We're the third largest in the state. And we align with a lot of the other third party values, from Forward to Serve America to Renew America. And so I have a lot of support. We have a lot of support. And we believe that will sort of take that lift up. Because again, and I'll stop on this, the majority, 41% of the voting population of Connecticut, over 900,000 people are unaffiliated. And they're unaffiliated for a reason. It means they do not identify with Democrats or Republicans. They believe that they want the best candidate, and they're willing to take a look regardless of party politics. And that speaks to why I deserve to be on the debate stage and part of the conversation.
Yeah, well, you do have this debate coming up, and obviously, I think Mr. Stefanowski's challenge in trying to keep you off, the voting opportunity is that off the ballot was so that there would be no other choice. Now, when you heard about this, did you feel confident that you would win, which you obviously did? And his challenge to you, because actually it would not garner him another line. It would just simply keep you off. How did you feel, or did you get a response from people you were talking to saying, gee, Rob, I'm so glad you made it, whatever? What was the reaction when they heard that you were going to be there?
Yeah, so first of all, I was highly confident. I knew, and I've said this in other avenues and in places, but we were highly confident because Bob's challenge, we felt, didn't have the proper merit. Can you imagine? I am an actual party member. The party asked me to run. Mm-hmm. They endorse me, and an outsider, not part of the party, says, don't vote for that guy. He shouldn't be the one. It should be me. Can you imagine if I went to the Republican or Democratic Party and said, don't vote for Lamont Democrats, vote for Rob, right, and I sue? Or I go to the Republican Party, don't vote for Bob Stefanowski, vote for me. They're like, wait, you're not a member. Who are you to come in here and vote? This is the point. They feel entitled to it. So we were confident that we were going to win because it's just nonsensical. And then two, folks out there, like, they've been pushing me along. They're like, Rob, fight the good fight. And they're ecstatic when we won. And the judge, both the Secretary of State sided with us in the party itself, independent party. And yeah, unfortunately, the bylaws didn't explicitly have what to do with the tie. Who would have ever imagined
Sure.
there would be a tie, right? But I will say this. 4 years ago, Bob won on ranked choice voting over Oz Griebel. This time, ranked choice voting, I won. Ranked choice voting works. So he can win on one aspect, but then from the same mechanism, it's like, I lost, so I'm going to sue. Something must be wrong because I lost. Guess what? That's the point of integrity of voting, right? So
it's having a choice. I mean, I think the people want the choice. I mean, at the end of the day,
want choice. Yeah.
The electorate. Yeah.
The last comment I'll make to the other point you made, which is, to me, it's Chairman Telska calls it sour grapes, which is you're still going to be on the line. I fundamentally don't understand this. Every single voter who voted for Bob on the independent party line 4 years ago can vote for him on the Republican line. It's the general election. So he has no loss here. He just has less real estate on a ballot. So, but voters, both nationally and in Connecticut, say they want more voter choice. Why? Because they want different ideas and they want different prompts to leading candidates. And I offer that to people. So I think that it was the wrong move for Bob to try to sue me off the line and the party off the line. I just think that would put the whole state behind. Is that the type of leader we want? Do we want a governor who sues rather than just wins on ideas? I don't know what type of state we want to live in, but that's not the type of state I want to live in.
I think people want choice. They do. I mean, parents want choice when it comes to the curriculum, and I think they're looking for freedom. They've had enough of being shut down. All right. Well, so in talking about being on the ballot and so forth, you have an upcoming debate coming up this Tuesday. Tell us a little about where we are. I know there's the League of Women Voters. There's something there that you need to have a certain amount of money or voting. Maybe you can explain that to people. And so you will be in that one, and then will you be in any others going forward?
Right. So let me address this. So there's really two televised debates that the governor has agreed to. I understand that the Republicans wanted 3 more. And then there's some forums, right? So now, thank you to NBC for not having, I think, unfair thresholds to pass, because we are the 3rd largest party. And if our candidacy wasn't serious, why would Bob sue to remove us? To remove me if it wasn't serious. So to this point, thank you for NBC. CCM, unfortunately, this is the municipality debate, the second one that Governor Lamont is going to be attending with Bob. That's, I think, in November 1st, I believe. And you have to hit 10% in the poll in order to qualify. But guess what? If the polls never even include me, how can I hit 10% in the poll in order to qualify for CCM? So I would challenge CCM, which is combined of mayors and council people and town managers, to take a look at your thresholds. We're the 3rd largest party. People want more choice in Connecticut. So CCM, I challenge you to reconsider your qualification and enable me to join that regardless of the poll. Or ask the polls to rerun with me and my candidacy and our party on that line. Now, League of Women Voters, this one is another one. Their qualification isn't really poll-based. Their qualification is financial-based, which, again, I challenge the League of Women Voters. I think you need to look at the unfairness of the threshold. You are limiting voter choice. And at the end of the day, that's what the debates and the forums are really about, which is to bring different ideas and have a marketplace of ideas. They say that you need to either raise a certain amount of money financially from your own campaign, but I'm not a multimillionaire, so I can't self-fund to the level that they expect. 2, they say, well, if you're part of a major party, you qualify. Well, guess what? Any third party would be disqualified because you're not part of a major party. And then 3, they go, well, did you at least receive state match? Well, guess what? State match and independent party, the gentleman I'm running against had the line 4 years ago and didn't perform. Why? Because he's a major party candidate where most of the votes go there. So again, I challenge the League of Women Voters to reconsider your qualification to at least let the 3rd most, largest party and its representative be on that stage along with the 2 other candidates. But meanwhile, and I'm not saying it's because I wasn't invited, but Governor Lamont, my understanding is he doesn't want to participate in the League of Women Voters debate now. I wonder why.
Because you're there as well?
Because I'm not there. Maybe the governor felt it wasn't fair.
Okay. Yeah.
And so now Bob is the only one attending the League of Women Voters. So I guess he's going to debate himself.
Well, that's interesting. Well, what have you, all right. So we're talking now, and you've made a lot of very good points. Name recognition is key. And you said you don't have a lot of money to spend. So what are you using as the implements in order to get, what seems to be the best route? Are you going to do any TV advertising? Are you just making an effort to get out and meet the public in various venues? What do you believe will be the best opportunity for you to get your name and noticed, so that you don't, because right now there is, most people obviously know Governor Lamont. Some people, there is a portion of people who don't know as much as Mr. Stefanowski has been out there since 2018. Some of them are just not aware of him. So what do you see is the best thing for you to do?
Right. Yeah. So definitely going out and meeting people. We've been going to major events. We've been to all the same parades and events that the governor and Mr. Stefanowski have attended. So fairs and events, but then TV ads. Yes. This week we started running TV ads. I wouldn't even call them TV ads anymore, because believe it or not, the majority of the voting public now watch TV online. Right. And I'm a digital guy. I'm the head of digital essentially at Webster Bank as a senior vice president. I understand digital. So people are watching Hulu. They're watching Netflix. They're watching YouTube. So we are running our ads, which we call just essentially web ads, on those platforms. So we just started rolling those out. So we have one on jobs and economy. We have one on electoral reform. We'll be rolling one out on education reform and closing the achievement gap. So those are the types of ads we're running. And then separately, the traditional yard signs and things like that. But again, I think folks are just being awakened to the fact, especially for the unaffiliated, the 900,000 plus unaffiliated. My campaign in the party most closely align to your values. And we believe that the unaffiliated now are just starting to be awakened. So as you get that sort of compound effect of one tells another one, or one tells 10, and you start to grow from there, we hope and expect that name recognition. The last part is, support from major third party national parties. So for example, Forward, I've been talking to Forward a bunch. I've been talking to Serve America and Renew America. They're joining. We align a lot of values. So for example, I'll be working on ranked choice voting with Serve America and Forward, and hopefully Governor Lamont, when it gets for Griebel Frank party of Connecticut, when that gets brought to legislature next session. So I'll be part of that as well. So yeah, I think, it is what it is, Susan. There's some name and face recognition issues and money, but we believe that this debate and what we've been doing in the lawsuit put a cloud over that, because people weren't certain what to make of us. But now that we're guaranteed to be on that ballot, folks have been really treating me and our campaign a bit differently.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get on to the personal part of this. And so once you had that dinner with Mr. Teleska, and I guess you agreed at that time, or did you go home and say to your wife, hey, they've asked me? What was the reaction?
It's probably pretty accurate, right? I went home and told my wife, and she was like, oh, right? she knows, listen, I'm an ambitious guy. I've done a lot of big things in my life, and I'm not afraid of any environment or challenge, right? So I just rise to the challenge every time. And I was called to serve. There's a reason, because the state isn't going the right direction, and neither major parties demonstrated the ability to solve it. And we need it continues to diverge. And now people are looking for something right down the middle. And I think that, my wife thought about it, and she felt, what, if you think you can make a difference and there's a reason the party's asking you, then you should seriously consider it. And she would support me. And I'm very pleased with my wife, Lou. She's been so supportive, as well as the children. So yeah, it's been a tremendous ride so far. And we're still going.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Well, since you live in Cheshire, you have you have 2 children, is that correct?
Four children. Yeah.
4 children. All right. So she's a busy lady. Does she work as well? Does she work?
Well, right now she's been at home and working on my campaign. So she's actually one of the biggest contributors. to the campaign. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have a campaign team of numerous, some paid, some unpaid staff members, volunteers. But my wife has just been the rock and worked with me all along. So yeah.
Well, speaking about the team, Lieutenant Governor, have you got someone that's going to be on?
Yeah. So Dr. Stuart Chip Beckett, he was the chair of the town council for Glastonbury. So essentially the Glastonbury first selectman or mayor, or what do you want to call him, until they became a minority party in Glastonbury. He still remained for some time. He's worked on the council of, I guess, a regional council, even of councilmen. And he's been pretty tied to politics. So he used to be in the Republican Party, and he left in a really public fashion. But he's my lieutenant governor, and he has administrative experience at the mayoral level. So, and I think that really brings, from our campaign perspective, we work as partners, truly. So we developed our policies with the policy team and our planning, and we work closely, Dr. Chip Beckett and I. So yeah, I'm really excited. We're working men, and we understand what it means for families to struggle. We understand what it means to be moderate income or upper moderate income or even low income and the struggles. And because we have that experience and because we're still working leaders, we believe that we have just a different approach to things, and we have that fire, that burn to actually make something happen.
Yeah, so, you need that energy. You do. Candidates need energy. And I know that when I have spoken to people, they look on the personal side. They need to like you. They need to actually like you. Well, while time's gone by very quickly. It's been very interesting to hear you. You do seem to be very well thought out in your plans, which I think you do have to be ahead of the curve before you get to January 2023. So if people want to reach you and follow you, what would your website be?
Hotaling2022.com. So HOTALING 2022.com. And you'll find us.
And they can get lawn signs there or sign up to help. Is that correct?
Correct. That is correct.
Okay. Well, again, I very much appreciate your time taking today to be with Connecticut Valley Views. And I look forward to hearing more about what you have, as I'm sure our viewers will. And I appreciate it very much.
Thanks a lot, Susan.
Okay, so for our viewers, don't forget to watch all of our shows on CTValleyViews.com. You can also write to me there. I look forward to hearing your comments and commentary on this, and I do appreciate you being with me today with my guest, Rob Hotaling, independent party candidate. Great to see it. I know the people will like having the choice.